welcome to We're Not Wizards. We are the best, but not wizards. Enjoy the show!
That this is going in a small bag that's going to get sent to Mr. Pryor because Mr. Pryor is going to do. You're going to rescue that one and do something with it. But
I was just painting before we started.
Let's do an intro. Welcome to We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard.
My name's Luke.
And
hey, I'm Ross Thompson. What's up, guys?
He's been.
What's up, guys?
You don't get a proper intro anymore, Ross, because you've been on so many times now. It's just like you're just part of the. You're just like part of the family. It's Ross Thompson from Atomic Mass Games. He's like important and wonderful and friendly, and he's
no.
He's like a lovely cup of tea at the end of the day. He's the kind of guy. He's like a big chunky biscuit. You're dunking in your tea, and you're just sitting back after a hard day, and you're going, everything is so much better. But we like having him on because he's good for a chat, basically.
Oh, well, that means a lot, guys.
You know.
Ross is into all the best things. Like, miniatures gaming and burritos.
And hanging
That's all I need.
And Star Wars.
Oh, and Star Wars. I fucking love Star Wars as well. So, I mean, like...
How many times have you seen the Millennium Falcon since we last spoke, Ross? Let's start.
So, funny enough,
he's probably seen it twice this fucking week.
If we didn't have the interview today, I was going to go up to the park today. So,
I'm preventing him from going... I'm preventing him from hanging about. It's a big load of junk.
Yeah, I already had some friends that were actually posting up going, hey, who's at the park today? And I was like, not me, but... No. I could have been.
I had to hang about with some people from the UK.
That must be so weird to just have access to that. Just like, yeah, I'm just going to pop down for the afternoon.
So it's funny, right? Because I went as a kid a couple of times, and I definitely have core memories with my parents and the whole thing there and all of that. My dad actually, I'm going to share this story, and my dad's going to love that I shared this story. So my dad ruined me on Disneyland. As a kid. Oh. So there's a Mormon church up in La Jolla. It's like 20 minutes from here. And whenever we drove by up the freeway, he'd be like, oh, that's Disneyland. And I'm like, oh, cool, we should go. He's like, yeah, someday, right? So we finally do like the classic SoCal thing where we go up the night before to Disneyland and we get a hotel and then we wake up and we go to the park. And my dad's like, okay, we're here. And my brother and I were like, not impressed because we're like, this is not Disneyland. And so all of his teasing and joking had totally backfired because it wasn't the Mormon church castle thing he had been doing. So a few years ago, I went with some friends and we got like a little, because they have a SoCal pass.
Yeah.
So you can get it. It's like a discounted that you can get like 3 days for a thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a annual pass. I've never done one before and I'll just get this checked out. And so they have the 3 levels. So I had the Believe key, which was like $80 a month, I think, right? And so I'm like, if I go up every 5 or 6 weeks throughout the year, that will pay for it, right? And
that's not bad.
No, it's
$80 a month. If you live down the road from that, you'd pay that.
I'm 90 minutes away, 2 hours with traffic, right? And it's like, and the cool thing that it does is it removes the stress of forcing yourself to be there all day, right? Because you're like, you know, so like I like doing rope drop because around like 11 o'clock is when a lot more people show up. So if I can get there at 8, I have like my little routine of like, I'm going to go on Pirates, I'm going to go on Haunted Mansion, I'm going to go and get a Ronto wrap at the Falcon, and then I'll get my fast pass and see if I want to do a ride day, I'll get my fast pass and then kind of like game that system. So I'll do like, you know, like 8 to 10 rides by like 1. And then I'm like, cool, now I can do some shopping or whatever. And then around like 3, I debate if I'm going to stay for fireworks or not, right? Because if you're going to stay for fireworks, you got to like mentally prepare yourself to drive home later, and then in traffic and whatnot. And there's like 4 different shows you can do, because they've got the classic Main Street fireworks show, and that will change depending on the season. So right now they have the fireworks show, but it's all oogie boogie up. So they have skeletons and spooky things with the castle and on Matterhorn. Or there's Phantasma, which is like the big water and lights show they have over at Tom Sawyer's Island. And then, of course, they have whatever waterworks show over at Disney California Adventure, which is like, the other park right next door. But they just started doing the Star Wars show, where first it was they're just going to have the fireworks from the Main Street show, and they're just going to play Star Wars music to it in the Star Wars land. But then they added in this light show that plays on the Batu Spire rocks. It's this, like, you go in there and this droid pops up, because there's a whole narrative going on in the Star Wars side of the park. And this droid pops up and he shows this hologram, and it's of one of the scavengers who's telling the tales of the old Jedi and of Skywalker. And they play this story up on the rocks, and it's so real. It looks like rocks are falling at certain times, and they have like Luke and Obi-Wan talking, or it's got snow speeders and ATSTs, or it's got Vader doing his stuff. But it's all this epic, like, storytelling thing going on, and you're just like, man, this is incredible, because like you just saw those rocks earlier in the day, but now they've like transformed them with lights, and they've changed the colors and the whole things and all of that. So that's worth seeing at least once. But now it's the Halloween stuff, and so the Halloween show is pretty fun. I don't do the extra Disney nights where it's like Oogie Boogie night or Star Wars night and stuff like that. Those are cool. I have a lot of friends that love them, but it's like an extra $180 to do that for like 4 to 5 hours. Because like they'll close a park at 6, and then you can go and do that, which is like incredible. The photos look amazing, right? And because like there's so many new costumes they'll have out, and food things and merch and stuff like that, and they'll bring out characters that you'd never see during the day, and then you can do full dress up. So you can dress up as like full cosplay and do all that. I'm not into that. So like, which is funny. I should probably just do it once. So I can
Well,
say
what would
minute,
you?
but...
Okay, so what would you dress up as? I mean, what? I mean,
that's a great question.
Because you're a LARPer. I know you're a LARPer because you regularly practice in the LARPing scene.
Yeah,
on a regular
doing
basis.
like,
You come back and go, just tonight, just did like a weapon practice tonight and stuff like that. In terms of LARPing stuff, because I'd be interested to know.
You should go. I mean, look, yesterday I was at it.
Your what do you call? Is it an outfit?
So
I know there's probably a way to say it, like you maybe wouldn't call it.
No,
a costume.
yeah. So
there's a term.
What I do is the SCA. So it's a Society for Creative Anachronism.
Yeah.
Which has been around since the 60s.
Wow.
And it was around before Ren Fairs and before LARP and all of that. And so essentially a bunch of guys in Berkeley wanted to throw a party for their buddy who got like his master's in history. And so they had a really good time doing that, and they dressed up and had a big medieval tournament, and they wanted to keep doing it. So they made it a nonprofit organization so they could get insurance permits for parks.
Ah, right.
And so by doing that, that's kind of what gave birth to the club. Yeah. And then they split up the whole, like it grew. So now here we are 60 years later or whatever, and there's 20 kingdoms around the world. And then within those kingdoms are baronies. And so there are essentially, like in a modern sense, there's 20 chapters and then local chapters inside of those chapters, right? And so, but where it's different than like a LARP is, so like I have a club name. So like I'm Tiberius Finn, which is registered as a 14th century nobleman thing, right? So everybody who ever does the club, you can get your own name registered, and that'll be your name, whether you played 40 years ago or you start playing next week. And then you can get your heraldry registered too. And that'll be unique to you. Out of all the members of the SCA, you'll have your own heraldry that you can get registered and do all that. And there's a whole archive where they keep all that stuff. So I did mine when I was like 19. So my heraldry is, I'll say it in game and then I'll say what it is out of game, right? So my heraldry is a plain of gold with 2 red pylons, with a raven rising sinister, holding a mug overflowing.
Yeah.
Or it's a drunk raven on the Ferrari background.
I want something, but it's got to be cool. I want something.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's got to be cool. So do you have a rank
so
then? Are you like a noble or a lord, or are you like, a knight?
Yeah. So essentially, in the club, everyone's a noble,
right?
Like, I there's no there's no that, but because it's a nonprofit and everything there, and everybody contributes, right? So I kind of call the SCA medieval tailgating, right? Like, because like we go to the park and you bring your stuff and do everything there, but someone has to run the event. Someone makes the garb you've got. Someone does the fighting, right? And so like you bring what you want to the club. And so there are awards you can get where it's pretty much your friends acknowledging your work and recognizing you for the work you've done. And so there are these main tracks that there's awards from. And so the king or queen of the kingdom or the baron and baroness of the local baronies can give those out at court, which is the beginning of every event. They have opening court where they'll say the business of the club and do whatever, and then give out awards that way. And so there are service awards, which are like, hey, people that put in the work to help make sure the events are running, the administration is going on, or helping people get into the club. There's arts and science awards. So like essentially any field that you want to do medieval arts in, if you participate in that and then, enter your things and have documentation and teach and do all that. So like I have friends that have arts awards in calligraphy or in German sewing or in armor making or in all kinds of cool stuff, right? And then there's also fighting, right? And then for the fighting, we have a couple different fighting forms. We've got what I do is armored combat. So we use rattan swords and do all that. We have rapier with like a kind of fencing kind of stuff. And then we just added stuff for thrown weapons and everything there. And so you get awards as you do that. And then the first award that usually everyone get is the AOA. And that's like, you're like, oh my gosh, thanks for coming around. You've participated. So that's called your awarded arms. And at that point, you've been given the title of Lord before your name. And then that is what, when you get that, that's kind of like the encouraging award to go, hey, go and get a name registered and then go and get your heraldry registered now, right? Because like, you've been coming out long enough where you should have like an official club name. Because if not, you're going to have some name that like you get at like a camp. Like I was a pirate before I played the whole thing, and my whole pirate camp, and my name was Coxworthy, right? And we just went out to do pirate camping at the SCA event that happened to have everything going on. But once we realized what it was, we got more involved. And then I had a bunch of friends say, hey, Ross, you can't run events and we call you Coxworthy. You need to get like an official name. And I'm like, that's fair, right? So, which makes sense. So at that point, you're a lord. And then as you gain higher awards for stuff, you go from lord to honorable lord. And then at the top of each track is a peerage. And so there'll be a group of people that already are those peers. Yeah. And so for fighting, armored combat, it's being a knight. For arts and sciences, it's a laurel. And then for service, it's a pelican. And so all of those peerages will meet a couple times throughout the year. And they'll be like, oh, who should we, bring into the group? How's everyone doing? Who should we nurture? Who are the problem people? What's going on? And so like yesterday, I just took on 2 new squires at the event because I got knighted about 7 years ago. Yeah. Which was awesome. And so essentially now my squires, it's a big deal. So they'll have red belts because red belts signify squires, white belts for knights. And so now what that's done is even those guys have been playing for a handful of years and they're grown-ass men and the whole thing like that, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to be a knight. So now me squiring them has told the other knights and the club, these guys are on the path to chivalry. And so while they already have fighting awards, service awards, stuff like that, they're going to make the push. And so they're going to be held to a different standard of judgment or advice or things and stuff like that. because like I consider people that are peers like staff of the club. Like you are what fighting should be. You are what service should be. So you shouldn't be a dick. You shouldn't be these things. Like you should be helpful and encouraging and all that. And there's a whole people have written like PhD level breakdowns of like what peerage should be and stuff like that and everything there. And what's crazy is like there are still some people that were at the first event that still play.
From the 60s, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when the SCA had its big 50-year anniversary about a decade ago, they brought back like 8 of the founders that were still around, and like half of them still played, you know? And so one of them is this guy, Fleeg. He lives in the Bay Area, and I've hung out with him a bunch of times. And he is probably the closest I'm ever going to get to a Tolkien-style Gandalf in real life. Oh, this guy is incredible.
Love it.
He is, you look at him and think frail old man, but like the guy still fights in armor, you know, on the field, the same one that we're all fighting on. He's got a beard that goes down to about his belly button, you know, and he has this awesome wizard's cap. It's like a German party cap, but it's a wizard's cap, right? And then, and you know, he's a fantasy author, right? And you're just like, this is crazy cool, because like you'll ask him like, oh, what do you think? And he's got so many opinions about what the club is, but because he's watched it grow from him and his buddies partying in a backyard to this like, you know, 50,000 person international organization with a board of directors. It's made all kinds of choices and things and stuff like that. And you're like, that's incredible, right? Like, so, which is neat, because you're like, well, like I dedicated a good chunk of my life to the SCA, but then obviously not as much as this dude, right? And then
he's just like, he says a youngling. You're just a
totally, right? Like, so a couple of years ago at Great Western War, so along with all the camping we do, or like one day events, we'll have these big wars where it's like a 3 or 5 day camping event, and it's usually like between kingdoms. Like there's no one's winning or losing; you're just kind of having your thing. And so we have one in California where it's Northern California versus Southern California, or the West versus Kaid, right? And we'll do a whole thing there, which is great. And then like the kings will process out with their armies and do a whole thing. So like we'll have 500 fighters versus 500 fighters in the field. The kings will march up, they'll say their words, we'll go back, and then we'll lay on. And then it'll be full shield walls marching at each other and stuff like that. And it's like, and you'll have like 9-foot pikes, and you'll have your archers, and you'll have your shield men and all in ranked up, and you'll have that kind of stuff there. But a couple of years ago, he was fighting in that too, and he was wailing on some dudes, and I was like, "Wait, you got almost a little too hard there, buddy." And he's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "I was here." I'm like, "No, I know, yeah." But it's fun because you get these people that have, you know, been around it for a long time, and I kind of joke that sometimes the SCA is this mix of bowling club and church, right? Because like some people will treat it like it's their religion, it's their community, it's their thing, and other folk will treat it like it's their gym, right? And everything there. But what's been fascinating is in the last decade, we've seen the rise of Battle of Nations, right? And Bohurt and stuff like that. So like in the hierarchy of medieval LARP violence in the geek sphere, right? We've got D&D. We're all hanging at a table, rolling dice, doing good, right? There's LARP, vampire LARP, or whatever, cyberpunk LARP, where we're going to be in characters doing stuff, but it's still all communications, talking things. Then we have like foam fighting, right? So it's like Belagarth and Amtgard and stuff like that. And then we get into like HEMA, where HEMA is like, it's still very aggressive, but you're going more from medieval forms and stuff like that. But with that, there isn't as much medieval community. You're just kind of going to your gym, you're going to your thing. And then we're SCA, and then there's like Ren Fair too, and there's Ren Fair fighting, but that's kind of more costume, we're putting on a show kind of thing. With SCA, what's fascinating about it is that it's not just the fighting. There's a whole culture around it, right? Like, so like we've got a club. It's as you would go to a book club or a thing or all of that. It's a large community to it. You can go to the Viking costuming class. You can go to fighter practice once a week. You can go to camping events. There's households that will only come to the big events and do all these things, right? And you've got Battle of Nations now. And so if you can look it up, it's all steel fighting, right? And this is all 4-pound weapons, dull weapons, but it's like a UFC meets medieval fighting there,
Wow.
right? And there's like 80 countries that will compete. There's 2 different organizations that do it. There's the IMCF, and then there's H&B, and then there's Bowden and stuff like that. And these countries that will compete and do all that. But the same thing is they don't have the same kind of medieval community that the SEA has. They're more like wrestling chapters or boxing clubs kind of thing. Hey, we're all part of the same club.
They're there for the physical kind of getting into it, as opposed to the kind of the 1,400 pages of history that goes behind the whole thing.
For sure, but at their event, they'll still be, hey, we're full on this thing. Everything's going to be historical and all of that, and everything neat. But now what's fun that we're seeing with that kind of stuff is there's this like rise in like cage fighting for Battle of Nations stuff. Yeah, where you can see all these things, and I've got a few friends of mine that will like travel around the country, literally competing in like cage matches, like it's wrestling, but they're going to be doing medieval fighting stuff, which is just awesome because you're like, this is really cool.
Are they using proper weapons then? I mean, and you said dull weapons and stuff like that. So they going up with like shields and kind of blunted swords and everything.
Oh yeah, oh totally, man.
And do people get
and big old halberds?
In it then?
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're having a proper fight. They're intending to hurt each other. Yeah, it's not. They're not pretending to fight. They're pretending to fight in an age of their weaponry. That's the only bit that's pretend, as it were. The fight itself is a real. Fight,
yeah. And then like for SEA fighting, like we're fighting too. Like it's a full fight, but I'm not fighting with the intent to like submission knock you out. Right, like
I'm finding out this for the first time, so I'm like, I can just imagine people at the MMA. Right?
UK's got a handful of teams. It's cool.
I'm going to be watching. So, this is going to be my kind of what. What are you watching? Jiggly physics.
Cool. I mean, like they've got.
Are you watching medieval fighting again? Yes.
Yeah. Like 1-on-1, 5-on-5, 10-on-10, 21-21. This year they had 100-on-100.
That's amazing.
And you're getting these full things. But at the same time, like the SCA's got an event called Penzic. And Penzic is out in Pennsylvania in August. So I always miss it because it overlaps with Gen Con. Yeah. But it's like a 10,000 person camping event. And they have it for like 2 weeks. See,
that's fantastic.
Right? So like they have to get a temporary town permit. So there's a mayor,
it's like burning. So it's like Burning Man for
it's Burning Man, Sturgis, and Penzic are like some of like the only events that have to get these like temporary town permit things, right? So
I know I'd get decapitated if I went to something. Even if I went to the butter churning event, I'd end up like kind of like, oh, Richard's heads are gone.
Well, the cool thing about it, and like. It's like it kind of goes back to that like medieval tailgating kind of thing, right? Like you can just wear garb and show up and hang out at any of these things, right? Like while I do SCA, I don't find them like one to be better than the other or any of that. It's like as long as you're having a good time, enjoying.
Yeah, that's what you get. I mean, I can't imagine there's like you turn up to Walmart and they go, right, okay, medieval swords are like aisle number 27 kind of thing.
No, yeah. So I mean, like that's
guns.
I've got friends that have made my garb and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, I'd love to get some tunics that we could match. Like, hey, we're all going to wear these black and green tunics, or we're going to do stuff there. So I've got friends that'll make that, and you just commission them and everything there. Right. There's a couple websites like Linen Garb is a really cool one, and like they'll have like a Star Wars tunic every year that they'll do. So like last year, I got a Byzantine tunic that had a hidden. Arabesh, Star Wars language stuff in it, and it had like hidden stormtroopers in the filigree on it and everything.
That's amazing.
It's great. Like, and that kind of stuff's fun because for the SCA anyway, like while there are sticklers to this must be historical and handmade or whatever, we're really just like we're wearing dresses in the park, so it's like let's have a good time with this kind of thing. And
I just kind of feel like. That just makes everything that I attempt as a hobby just like me doing as a part-time kind of venture, kind of, because I know there's people that will be, but even if you kind of slightly get into this, I know as I've got a couple of friends that they go down and LARP like once a year, but this is the one thing that they are doing this year. They spend kind of weeks, months, kind of deciding on their costume, deciding what they're going to be doing, actually, playing their character, kind of what they're going to be eating, what they're going to be drinking, who they're going to be meeting with. And for some time, it's once a year they meet up with kind of like friends from different parts of the country, and I absolutely love it. You still have not answered the Star Wars character question.
Oh, fair enough.
Just circling back.
But I will say on that,
what was the question?
On that once a year thing, like there's people that will only come out like for wars, and we only have like 2 or 3 a year, right? So like, there's no requirement to do everything, it's whatever you want to do with it, right? So like when I used to do Wasteland Weekend, which is the big Mad Max camping event, that's a once a year thing, and they just had their 15th anniversary. I haven't gone in like 7 years. I went to the first 5 or 6. But that's like a once a year, we're going to get together and do a big Mad Max camping festival
that
thing.
Amazing.
It's go look it up.
Insane.
It's so cool. Yeah, so I guess like for Disneyland, if I was going to dress up, I'd have to get stuff together. I normally just put on a Spirit jersey of whatever Disney thing I've got going on. I've got a couple of those, and I'll just wear those with some shorts, and I bring my little travel bag, which is like which my travel bag for trips, you're gonna laugh, is like a Warhammer bag I got at like a store opening thing. It's one of those little blue ones and everything. So it's like Age of Sigmar thing.
Traitor. That's so funny. So bad. I mean, like, you're talking. I mean, you're turning up with that in public and going, "Look, here's my war." Is that so you can go in disguise and people go, in case people recognize you, can go, "I'm not Ross." They go, "Ross," and they go, "No, here's my Warhammer bag." Do you think I would be seen dead with this if I was
I've got Warhammer tattoos, man. I don't know about that. We're wrong.
Here's my branding. Here's my branding. Yeah. Which character would you go as? Are you a bounty hunter then?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, right? Like, it's.
I want to be.
I don't know. I'm. It's funny. Cosplay's not like my jam.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that people love it. But I like just wearing. When I've dated cosplayers, I'm like the classic boyfriend, just like wearing a black shirt, holding the bag, taking the Instagram photos. So like,
it's like
that being said, like
3 feet, not any closer than 3 feet. Go on, get away.
Yeah.
Not any closer than 3 feet. Not any closer than 3 feet. I don't know, because the thing with the Star Wars universe is it's opened up so much. That it's just a little bit now. It's kind of like there's so many different things. If you want to be like, because I always like, do you know what? My favorite character when I was growing up was the B-wing pilot, because I liked the B-wing ship. The B-wing ship. I had the B-wing ship at the time, and then recently I lost my mind in the Skeleton Crew when they had the B-wings turning up in the Skeleton Crew, and I was just like, they're doing the crossfire thing, they're doing the crossfire, they're doing it all together, and it was absolutely amazing. And I think the Return of the Jedi was like the last kind of series of Star Wars toys that I got, so I liked the little kind of like the B-wing pilot at the time. And you didn't get the A-wing. That was the strangest thing. Like back in 83 or something like that. They didn't actually release an A-wing, which was really, really sad. Yeah. But they released I was like, why didn't they release an A-wing? And then they're like, I don't know, let's release this big, huge B-wing thing with the kind of the geo thingy cockpit and stuff. So that would be me. I want to be a pilot. I want to be a B-wing pilot.
Well, so what you should do is when you get your outfit, you should go to Outpost 77 and do the.
I've been on that website.
For the Twin Suns Ranch thing.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and so Twin Suns Ranch is by this guy, and they do this whole Star Wars camping event out there, and it's incredible. So I have a lot of friends that are like, "Hey, Ross, you got to go out for that." So I probably need to get a Star Wars outfit together. I just don't have one right now, right? So
where would you go then?
You're not going to go full Wookiee, no? And just sweat for 3 days.
Yeah, that'd be well, there's some kind of like Star Wars scavenger thing, or maybe a lightsaber thing, right?
They always say the thing is like, oh, I wonder what a Wookiee smells like. And if you're a Wookiee cosplayer, after about 3 days, you'll know what a Wookiee smells like. God damn.
It's based
and it ain't going to be good.
I just wonder, like, I mean, there's obviously going to be stormtroopers, and there's going to be Jedi, and there's going to be 50 million kind of bounty hunters. But there is probably, like, I think you could bet a good 27% to 30% of people there are dressed as Twi'leks. I mean, every single picture is literally like, look at, here's my big, huge horns of whatever that is. This is just, I mean.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was pretty funny. So last year on Life Day up at Disneyland, we went up for Life Day. And it's like an unofficial event at the park. But we're hanging out by the X-Wing because a lot of people were wearing their Life Day like hoodie, snuggie things or whatever. And they bring out Chewbacca. And Chewbacca stands up by the X-Wing and gives this 10-minute speech about Life Day. And it was the best thing because he's speaking in full, Kashyyyk, just like for like 10 minutes, and it was great. The lady next to me was like crying. She's just like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "This is amazing!" Like,
do they have translations?
Okay, Chewbacca, you're just gonna go out and just give a speech,
Did you know what he was saying anyway? Or was it translated, or was it just he gave a 10-minute speech? You have no idea.
I'm not fluent in Wookiee, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Do you know what? You can guarantee that there'd be somebody standing there and going, he didn't want to go there, he wanted to go there instead. That was absolutely wrong.
Probably, right? Like,
it's always something like that.
Yeah. But also maybe, it's at the parks, and maybe he really, that's their guy. He's the guy that knows how to speak.
I saw when we started to do when there was a video that came out of the How to Train Your Dragon. You might have seen this as well, Luke. And they had the guy playing Burke, or whatever his name was. But they had him coming out and
I think Burke's Island,
coming out and playing the main character, and he sounded exactly Hiccup. That's the boy's name. Yeah. And he came out and he's like talking away like this, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And then they announced like the live action version of the film. I was like, he'd be perfect for it because just his mannerisms and everything like that. And it's like, but that's your job. It's like I know he's an actor, but that's your role. That's what you're kind of playing, and that must be kind of pretty cool. That would be something that I'd be like, yeah, I could do that. I could maybe do that if I had talent, someday.
I'd love to be the guy who, I think it would be, is it Universal Studios probably, who gets to do the Megatron.
I love those videos.
And he does the photo op ones because he just gets to say what the fuck he likes, and he's so goddamn funny.
So good.
He's so damn funny. I don't know if it's the same guy or person in the suit each time,
it's so good.
But whoever it is, they've got him on the same wavelength, sense of humor wise, because damn, they're funny.
Yeah.
Because at Disney they don't actually talk, do they?
No. They do.
Well, don't they have also like pre-programmed?
The stormtroopers have
sayings.
The stormtroopers have pre-programmed stuff, but most of the character actors they'll engage and talk and do all that. So,
right. But yeah, Megatron, I'd be.
Oh yeah,
it just looks so much fun, so damn fun.
It'd be getting the voice right and stuff like that. I don't know if I could do that. The funniest thing I've seen recently is the polar bear cosplayer guy. I don't know where it is, but basically this polar bear is like huge. It's like a 7 foot tall polar bear, and I'll see if I can find a link. But basically, it's like you get to take a picture in front of this polar bear, and this polar bear, whoever is the puppeteer inside this polar bear is just obviously having the best time. And like,
is it a street performer, or is this like when you get to Alaska?
I don't know. I think it's some kind of zoo or something like that. This kind of like polar bear.
Okay.
Basically, he stands behind, but he always ends up leaning over and eating one of the taking a bite. Yeah,
I have seen that actually. Yeah, I have seen that person.
People that are like, obviously, they have a fun job that they get to kind of muck about a bit, like you're kind of like your Megatron kind of guy. And I just like, they must get up. I suppose it must tire after a while because you're doing the same thing again and again. But I guess also you're kind of getting up and going, well, I don't know what the day's going to bring.
Is this one, isn't it?
That's the one.
Oh, that's amazing. I've seen that. Yeah.
And he just looks like he's having the best time. He's just like, I'm gonna really have to find a link to kind of like the amazing kind of profile.
It looks like it was at like a I think it was something to do with Coca-Cola, and it was like at some event or something
hats,
like a Coca-Cola Christmas
hats
event.
Off to somebody that obviously they knew what the assignment was, and then they decided to kind of take it any even further, So,
Ross, have you always been like a gaming geek?
So I started playing Magic.
Did you come to it later?
No. So my parents, we grew up playing board games, right? So like, and then I grew up playing Monopoly and Risk with my family too. We have like Thompson's family rules when it comes to those games. Like you got to roll the dice in the box, and these things there, and that kind of stuff. And then I started playing Magic in middle school, right? And then pretty much got deeper into Warhammer in high school and everything there.
What sort of year would that have been?
So I graduated high school in 2006. So.
So Magic had been around a good while.
Yeah,
then.
I think
you weren't
6th edition, right? Maybe around that time.
Yeah.
So, and then I played Pokemon when that first came out, right? But then I really didn't get into board games until high school, like the modern board game kind of stuff, right? And so I still have my copy of like Medici. Wow. And Age of Gods and some of those things. And we played the crap out of Battlestar when that was going on in college, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then like my love of Twilight Imperium pretty much happened in high school too, right? I think that was the early in the 3rd edition on that one, right? So, but yeah, I've always been a gamer.
Yeah, probably would have been. Yeah. So,
which is funny because like when they did the new Chaos stuff, I actually went and pulled out my old World Eaters army, and I'm getting ready to like rebase them onto the larger base size. They're all painted with testers.
Everything's so much bigger. Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh yeah, the whole army's painted with testers, and which is funny, but yeah. I mean, everything's bigger. Like right now, I'm working on my Orcs and Goblins for Old World, and just putting everything on those new bases has been a whole thing, right? So. Because they up that.
It's something just like I remember original Terminators, and now you go to a Terminator now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a bloody dreadnought.
Oh, totally.
Now. It's like it's like a walking, talking tank versus this up armored dude that it was before. Kind of thing.
I've got Advanced Space Crusade like up there in a box in a plastic kind of sealed box just in case. I've got that, and I've also got the 2014 version of Space Hulk kind of kept away.
Oh, I will share this story, and I will mention no names on things, but I'll share a thing. So you'll like this. This is crazy. So one of the local game stores that I go to, they do trade-ins. You could bring. It's like when I did my big purge from when I used to run my convention down to my condo, I had to get rid of like 1,000 board games, and I took them there for store credit and all that kind of stuff. So I went in about a few months ago, and the owner was like, "Hey, Ross, I'm so glad you're here. We have a guy turning in a bunch of Warhammer, and there's a few more stops we got to do at a storage unit. Can you help out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." I used to work there in high school and college, so I'm like, "Yeah, like once you work there, I guess for once you always work there, right?" That's how that works.
Your family, yeah.
Just
your family.
So I'm like, yeah,
just a shift. Go on. Yeah,
no problem. Let's do that. And we get down there, and this guy had been buying product from the shop for like 30 years, and just put it into a storage unit because he was eventually going to play it, right? He's like, oh yeah, I'll eventually play it and do whatever. And it was the biggest collection of unopened things I had ever seen in my entire life. It was
just pure gold.
It was multiple storage units, most of it still in shrink wrap, and it was everything back when it was still Marauder miniatures. Up until like
shit.
Right? So there was like, oh, look at all these battalion boxes, or look at these boxes of 10 skeletons that just says skeleton back in the cool animated font that it used to be, and then like promoting Man of War on the back. He had all of Battlefleet Gothic, still in this on the spruce, this whole thing there.
No way. My childhood in a container.
It was a trip. And so we started doing a bunch of that stuff. And then it turns out that his dad showed up and was like, hey, we're going to go a different path. And instead of doing a turn in for the shop. And, but we still had brought in a couple of big tables of it. Yeah. So like there was a bunch of it at the store. And so a lot of people for the next couple of weeks had been calling in going, hey, when are you going to get this stuff? So it turns out they had to take it all back to the storage unit and they were going to do a different thing. But it was just like knowing that exists. It was crazy because it was like it would have filled a warehouse if they had properly, put it on that. Because you could have done like every edition essentially as a full thing. And I was telling the game store.
Sounds like it all should have just gone into some sort of geek museum.
I was telling the owner,
don't give it to a collector. Don't give it to somebody who might even open it.
Just leave it. Yeah.
Let it be.
Yeah. I was telling the store owner,
for the beautiful things that they were as well. Because like when I first got into GW back in I think I probably first stepped into a GW in 93 or 94 and used to get these beautiful boxes. I think they had an image of the miniatures on the back of them, but the front was just artwork.
Yeah, and the cool art. Yeah.
It was so beautiful, and it's just
When I was telling the owner, like if that had gone through, I was telling him like, hey, I will come in after hours, after I've been working to help you organize all of this, because like the winning move would have been to put it all up on one wall, all of it, like one, and then take those photos and put them online, and that would just that would break the internet, like
well, I mean
a certain chunk of it would just fall.
But I would wonder in that situation if Games Workshop would actually get in contact with you and say, can we come in? Because I doubt that they've got and you imagine this in general business terms. There will be stuff that they haven't. There will be stuff that they've got rid of. There will be stuff that they don't have.
You almost, if you go to Warhammer World and you go to the museum, you can almost see that they don't have it because so much of it isn't
this
there.
Guy had...
the bits they have got, you kind of think like, why have you got that? Why haven't you got this?
Oh,
because that's the one you want.
Oh yeah.
And I can only assume because they don't have
exist.
it.
I mean, this guy had Games Day minis that were like limited runs this or White Dwarf mini limited. It was like now I'm like I got myself really excited about it again. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. But it's one of those things where it's like, there's also a dark side to that too, of like our hobby definitely promotes buy, whether you're playing or not.
Don't do what he did, but he did a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah. It's as fabulous and awful as.
But
it is
I know of people that they buy a couple of.
100%.
I know people who buy multiple copies of something just to keep a copy. They have a spare. If they buy an RPG, they'll buy a second copy of the RPG. I know that when Destiny was out, when Star Wars Destiny was out, they would always buy 2 copies, and then when it got canned, they were like, well, what am I meant to do with this? And they literally kind of dumped most of it because they were like, well, I'm never ever gonna play it again. But I mean, if I go into my shelf, and we're probably all the same, if I go into my collection just now, there's games that I have got bought that when I've got it, I have unshrink wrapped it to have a look through it and then put it on the shelf and then never kind of
yeah
I could probably see 15 in front of me now.
Oh yeah, but at least like there's a difference between like having a few things versus like I'm paying for a storage unit.
Yeah,
that's a very different thing.
I mean, as a hoarder, I mean, I guess it's a case of
there is obviously, if you know what you're doing as well, there is a speculative aspect to it. They could have been sitting there going like, some of this is going to be worth some money one day.
Going back to the Star Wars stuff. I mean, we had all of the backing cards for all the Star Wars figures that we had. We just used to collect them, and then I think when we moved house, I think one of the parental units decided, we're going to ditch all that, including the boxes. And then you find out of it 15 years later that, like, literally, if you kept all that with the boxes, that was not the bad thing to do. Not the good thing. But how do you know what to collect?
If you could have chucked the toy away but kept the box, and the box would have been worth, that was the bit that somebody would be looking for, the collector, and they'd have paid through the arse.
It's like the whole Pokemon thing.
How are you going to know that, though, right? So
yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't know, because at the time, you're not irresponsible. You're looking at it and going, I can't wait to crack that open because I'm going to have the best time kind of playing that and getting to know that. But it's like the Pokemon stuff at the moment.
Were Beanie Babies a thing in America?
Huge. And now you've got the...
Yeah. I mean, how many Beanie Babies did people buy just because they were like, these are going to be worth money?
Well, I mean, that's the whole...
Fuck all.
debate you're having right now with like, Magic cards, right? Like, there are whole YouTube channels that are dedicated to just the stock market analysis of cards and their thing. Like the guy from Alpha Investments, right, who does the whole thing with Magic cards and all of that, breaking down his whole stuff. I'm just like, it's cool because you're like, I'm learning a whole other side of our industry that is different. Why are you touching those? They're losing value right now, right? Like, come on.
I mean, this is...
Get your greasy Celtic hands off those.
There you go. But, I've got them there because they're impossible to get hold of. I'm not keeping them to sell them. Sure. I mean, there's this, like, the whole Pokemon thing. If there's one thing which is happening to the detriment of the hobby and the detriment to people enjoying something, is currently the whole kind of Pokemon thing is quite troubling to me.
Oh, when you see all these dudes just coming in and clearing out.
They've got it. You've got it different. I think it's different over here. I think it's different here over the UK, where it's strictly kind of like one purchase per customer.
Yeah, we seem to not have allowed that mentality.
So I'm in a Facebook group for San Diego Pokemon card collectors, because I find it fascinating. And this group is mainly the people that are trying to, get. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the word right now that we're talking about. The kind of scalpers, right? So it's basically scalpers, and they will like track. Oh, hey, restock in this Target Pokemon cards. Hey, this thing there, and Costco has these ones, and they share all about it, and it's a fascinating thing because they're talking about it like they're stockbrokers, right? And it's like, hey, you go to this thing, buy this stuff, here's the current rates and all of that. And we've got like 4 or 5 card conventions, events that happen like every other month here in San Diego and in LA, where it's just these guys and they're going and selling their lots of Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, and they're trading it around and doing these things. And there's this weird thing where it's like, yes, scalpers buying stuff drives up the prices. It makes it hard for people that want to play the game, do these things. But on the other side of it, like, some of that stuff keeps those games going, right? Because you've got them buying enough product, doing these things that happens. 100%. And while their attitude and business model may be, not what we really want, because they're buying the product, that does keep those companies going, right? So, which it's kind of like with card games, right? Everyone's like, hey, you'll know if your game...
Well, I mean, for years, they said brick and mortar stores will only stay open because of Magic. Magic paid the bills. Anything else they sold was a bonus, So it was like, when you would get brick and mortar stores open, they'd be like, oh yeah, we don't really want to do CCGs and Magic and stuff like that, and we don't want to do that. It's like, well, good. Well done. Well, I hope you have a fun 6 months, because that's how long
totally. But like, even now you've got people that are like, oh my gosh, what a good deal it is making a game store, and you're like, well, good luck getting allocation.
No,
like right now, like with all in the renaissance we're having right now for card games, from all the ones that are there and the new ones coming out, it's like for the first 2 sets, those card games are going to be hot, but is it going to survive after that, or what's their value going to be? And you're kind of playing this gamble, which we've all seen since the rise of Magic and Pokemon, but who can get in?
Well, I mean,
it's fascinating.
Under the mic, that I've got a couple of Gundam decks, and getting Gundam,
it's cool.
Was like, it's hen's teeth. It's impossible to get, and I heard of like FLGS is basically saying, we've been allocated kind of 6 decks, and that's it. That's what we've been allocated. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if it was a mistake by Bandai kind of going, well, this is just like another like One Piece, because that's what they seem to do. They have One Piece and they put it out there, and then they got Gundam, and I think they grossly underestimated.
So I don't want to talk too much about it, because just for my thing on that kind of stuff there, but like where it is neat is you're going to see when these games come out, and what's going on is right now is that gamble of allocation deal. Because normally you would talk to the distributor would tell you how many stores they have. Here's what we can do. We're going to go everything there. But you're also getting a thing now where a lot of these guys are dealing with Amazon stuff too. And Amazon wants their allocation. And then you've got a lot of these guys that want to keep their own amount too, so they can sell direct on their store or at shows or everything else. And then with Gundam, it had the it has, because it's still fresh. Gundam. It has the Japan and then US and then Europe, where those all going to have different things going on, right? So, but man, also the game is good though. We've played it LVO. It is so fun.
Oh no, it's a fun. I think the thing was it was a fun game that people kind of like went, I'm going to try this, and then they're like, oh, I can't get any more of it, and then I was like, well, I'm expecting to be like, maybe, hopefully we'll be able to get the first 3 decks again, the starter decks again, and they weren't able to get hold of them. Now I completely understand. I'm a bit confused at the fact that something that has been established and has such a range of product, but then I also understand the whole TCG thing, which is your first run is a huge risk, and if you sell out of that, then you're already deciding what the follow-up is going to be, because the people that have bought the first pack are wondering what's to follow, what can I get next? So then there's a rush of, well, if I go back and then reprint, another 50,000 units of the first set, then has that first 100,000 that I printed out, is that my audience level? So if I print 50,000, is nobody else going to buy that 50,000? So I'm kind of lost. So I completely get it.
And that's kind of the biz, right? Like it's very fascinating how that all works, because you can get into this breakdown, but at the same time, like here we are speculating about different things where, like there's people that's their job. Hey, how many are we going to figure out? Hey, what's going on and everything there? And at the end of the day, like, is the point that you're making enough where you're creating a whole economy of balancing the scalpers and secondary markets and whatnot, or you just want to make sure that little Timmy has his set so that he can play with it with his dad, right? Like what's the jam on that? It's just neat,
like,
right?
I mean, we don't play. Me and Jake, he's my youngest. We don't play Pokemon together. He collects kind of Pokemon, but I'm like, well, we should play it because you have got the pre-constructed decks, and it's like, no, I want to buy all this and buy all this. We have been playing.
I think it is a more collected,
it's a more collected product than it is an actual.
It's almost like that's in their catchphrase.
I was going to say, it is essentially
those marketing.
It is kind of their raison d'etre.
So clever. They're so clever.
Gotta do what with them all? Exactly. You gotta do.
But then the other side of it.
But it did. I mean, it did have a really big tournament scene once. I don't know if it's quite as big as it was.
Pokemon Worlds just happened in Anaheim about a month ago, and it was the craziest. If you haven't seen the video from their Worlds event yet, it is one of the coolest tabletop game videos I have seen this year.
Wow.
In their Worlds event, in the champion finals, the stage itself was a screen. So when you're watching, you see their hand like that. And then when they play it, the card moves up and then plays like it was like the Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Not with the full hologram, but it's playing like that. And then it's moving around. It has all the animations. Jenny Nicholson from the Star Wars hotel fame. She had her whole video, the 4-hour video on that whole video. If you could go watch that.
Oh,
yeah. She on her Twitter or on her other YouTube posted up like a 7-minute review of Pokemon Worlds this year, and go watch it. It's really cool. But the video of the Worlds stage is insane because you're getting these people that are up there on stage doing their stuff, but it's got fireworks going off on the stage and full electronics and technology showing off the cards being played as they're doing it. And then when they win and they get done the champion, Pikachu comes out in a freaking Letterman's jacket, like hands them a freaking trophy. And you're like, well, everything we're doing is never going to be as cool as that. Because that's just like the coolest thing ever. And then it was pretty funny. She was saying in the video that in order to get everybody out of the stadium, like to get them all out, they dropped a special Pokemon Go Pokemon. Oh, there's a thing happening right outside. Go out and get it.
I mean,
and
we
it's just
Pokemon Go.
Run,
we
geeks.
do play Pokemon Go, that entire thing. And to be fair,
that's genius. When
I say my son doesn't play, is like there's a definite scene on. Like every Sunday, we're told, like every Sunday you've got to come along. There's a but it's serious. It's like really, really funny. It's really serious how it is, and it's very, very meta, and everybody knows kind of like, oh, you're playing that deck, are you? Kind of thing. It's and it's kind of like it's a kids game.
I know. If Pokemon had been around when I first got into Magic in the kind of the heyday of the CCGs, because like in the early to mid 90s towards the 2000s. We were playing so many different games, like original Netrunner, Magic, Star Trek, SimCity, the collectible card game, which was fucking amazing, which it had no right to be. Jihad, which then turned into Vampire: The Eternal Struggle, Rage, which was from Werewolf the Apocalypse, and God, there were so many we played. Like, and if Pokemon had come out at that time.
Oh, it came out right afterwards and then crushed everything else, right?
Yeah, but then it's had the...
Yeah. Well, then it became... it kind of set the board. Magic set the bar and Pokemon took the other side of the bar and held it up with Magic, and then nobody else could get over that bar after that. It was just, it's like, yeah, come along, have a go. We'll give you 3 years and then you can fuck off again and let somebody else have a try. That's kind of where the CCG
I think what's
after that, which is...
What's kind of funny on this other thing too is like with all the CCG stuff going on, you could bring up Netrunner and some of those things, but like
feel sad.
My gaming group, we love playing like Ascension and like Dominion and a lot of these like board game deck building games where like it gets all the fun of the deck building stuff going on.
The innovation moved into different areas.
Right. So
it didn't, which is great. And I think that's, a lot of people don't realize that the CCG market didn't die, or just, or the rest of the CCG market didn't die. It just turned into something else. It just went, okay, we can't do that. We can't compete with you guys, but we can still do what we do, and it, I mean, look how big Netrunner was. For a period of time, Netrunner in its second iteration, the Fantasy Flight edition, was so fucking huge. I mean, to the point it still is huge. I mean, there's still that massive fan community that keeps it going.
Null Signal.
Producing new stuff for it.
Keep on doing it.
Producing new stuff for it, and I think there's almost been as many new Netrunner cards that have come out from that group that were made for it by Fantasy Flight in their.
I can't speak to that at all, but there we go.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yes, I understand that. Yeah,
but it is neat, right? Because like you see all these games that are popping up, and you're like, well, what a good time to be a gamer. But now at the same time, with all the world stuff happening out there and all of that, it's also a rough time. But
Well,
like it is neat because there are so many games to play right now that we're not having to compete with bad games. It's good games competing against good games.
Really, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because just my last thing on cards is like Ashes, which is one of my favorite card games, has got multiplayer.
Yeah.
Got multiplayer. But also Flesh and Blood is going multiplayer with its Slam. It's doing a new Slam deck, which is basically here's a box of stuff, you unwrap so many cards, and then you put them together in a deck and you kinda play.
Oh, I thought they were just going to basically turn it into like Pogs.
I don't want to talk about
Pogs. Oh, yeah.
I had a fuckload of Pogs.
Didn't we all of our slammers, right? Like
deliciously gluten free, as they were.
Little tubes.
So, is there anything you're playing at the moment that's catching your eye, that's making you happy at the moment?
Great question. I was at Las Vegas Open a couple weeks ago, right? And went out with my gaming group, like my core college gaming group, right? I played a lot of Old World. I played a lot of Spearhead. We played Gundam card game. We played a lot of Commander.
Oh, okay.
So like very like basic bitch kind of like games, but like
I've seen that comment.
Nothing wrong with that
at all, right? It was super fun. Like we brought out the 40k Commander decks and a couple other ones there, and those were a good time. So, and then we played some board games, and that was great, right? And then like of course I got to see all of our tournaments going on for like Shatterpoint and MCP and everything there, and that was awesome. But yeah, I'm not really like I've got games that I want to check out. I just picked up a bunch of the miniatures for Arc World from Alex and everything there, right? So that'll be really cool. I wanted to dive into that. And then we just got a demo of 1490 Doom, which looks super cool. And then we got a demo of Great Helm from Malev, right? And the Doom.
Great Helm, I don't know that one.
Yeah, 1490 Doom. They were actually on GameFound a little bit ago.
No, I know 1490 Doom. Great Helm.
Yeah, Great Helm. Yeah, it's like Malev. He did like the Demon Ship and Pit Lord and stuff like that. So it's his brutal combat game, and it's got a really cool.
Oh yeah, I have seen this.
Yeah, which blew up. It did really well, like 100K on Kickstarter, right? And
2,500 backers.
Yeah, and what's neat about it was that the demo we got at LVO, the dice engine's neat, right? So you roll all your dice, and and then you assign them on your sheet, and that tells you what you can do on your turn. And then all the hits that you're doing are like, oh, you're going to bleed this guy out, or you're going to stun him, or he's going to do a thing. And so it's not a full, like you're going to move and do a stuff. Like it's very calculated in how you're going to play it. But what's fun is you're playing it on like a 1.5 like an 18-inch by 18-inch board, So it's like, oh yeah, you paint up some knights, or I'm sure that he could expand that out into different themes too. Right. But you do that and then just beat up on each other. And like we were playing and we're like, oh, cool. Like we want to stop doing the demo now and just play the game, which, when that happens, you're in a good mode, which is cool. So yeah, it was that. I've got a bunch of skirmish games I want to start doing. We were playing some 15mm Kill Team too, which was pretty fun.
I love 15mm.
I think every game needs to go that size, man. Like
15mm or even smaller. Oh, sure. I love.
Yeah, I've got some more Master.
First time I ever walked into a GW, it was Epic that did it. It was Epic that made me go.
Especially when you see it. That's pretty. That is.
I've just had two armies of the Epic Warpath from Mantic Games arrive.
Well, you know what this is though, right? This is the eventual evolution of all miniatures gamers, is to go to 6mm Napoleonics. Right.
Little Forge Father Dreadnought.
Yeah. Look at that. That's a big kid luck could have painted that. I mean, it'll be like microns and stuff
good.
like
You
that.
just do blue and white and dip it in your crayon.
I know that because like you're one of these people that just like, look at this, I'm just going to paint. You just like, you put the miniature across the other side of the room and then you just get a brush and you chuck it at it and it goes, oh, look, it's come up. Oh, look. Oh, accidentally highlighted all the right bits. Oh, you know.
Yeah. So, Luke, is that your P3s back there? Is that what that is? Or is that...
Here we go.
Yes, P3s, and then I've got the two thin coats range here, and then behind that I've got the Citadel contrasts, and then I've got Army Painter speed paints.
Oh, funny! And as over here on my side, I have my full Pro Acryl setup.
Oh, I have one Pro Acryl, the titanium white, which is the best white.
Oh,
ever
their
put
white's
in a
amazing.
paintball.
Yeah. That's a put on the map, right?
Unbelievable, and I would like to get more of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so really, the best paint they make. And Jason, Chris, and Gabe, I am totally kidding when I say this, but it's their wizard's butt. You got to get wizard's butt. Yeah. So wizard's butt.
Oh, look at
it's their overrun.
Markers.
They'll do of like some colors because they make all their own paint, right? And so, what color is wizard's butt? Right? It's whatever two colors they decided to overrun and then mix together. So you go to their booth at a show, do a selfie, tag them, and they give you a.
That's amazing.
Wizard's button. So right now they have a really cool the one I've got is like an olive green gray, which is nice. And but I mean we just did the new paints with them right for AMG, which was really cool. So they're a good group. I mean. A lot of the paint companies are really cool guys, so it's a
here's my boys.
This is another I grew up in this time. Now
look at that.
The stuff. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of AK's paints as well. Actually, now that I think about it, but they're in a different place.
It's like me with board games.
But like the shit I grew up with, you know, like fucking Humble enamel paints and just like, I mean. A yellow, you couldn't put a yellow paint on a miniature when I was a kid because it was more see-through than the dining room window.
Oh, sure.
You know, it was just horrific. Whereas now I've got like 4 different yellows here that I could paint my fucking car with, and you'd think it started off as yellow. You know, it's just unbelievable. The revolution in painting. You know, I mean, that's not even taking into account the speed paint, contrast paint. You know, thing as well, you know.
No, I mean,
now we're getting the paint pens, which is going to make life even easier.
Well, like Lethal Shadows launched their paint line too, and everything there with all of their stuff, and then
you do a really, really good job to find a shit paint company. I started off with Vallejo. I've still got all of my Vallejo somewhere as well, but I decided to move off from them. And Vallejo are amazing. Citadel there's some that do certain things better than others, but they all do what they do very well.
And that's the thing that we are so blessed with as gamers right now.
Blessed is the word,
right?
Yeah.
So like I ran a panel at Comic-Con San Diego this year. And I had Chris from Brotherwise Game on it, right? And they were gearing up for their big Kickstarter. And he was talking about how the competition we have right now in the space, it's not about good or bad games. It's not about this. It's like everything is good, right? Like we have good art, we have good components, we have good things, and so we have good marketing, we have understanding of these things. It's like right now you're not really competing. You're just trying to show why you should do this thing, right? Like okay, here's our game does this, our stuff does this, come be a part of this, because there's like in RPGs, there's so many good systems right now. In paints, there's so many good things right now. We were talking about card games for a good amount of time on this, which is surprising, but at the same time, all of that, miniatures, how many good things are there right now, right? So it's just like,
we didn't even mention Locan.
Oh yeah. But it's like, it's just funny because you're like, it's cool, you know, and it's fun because you're like, okay, what kind of gamer are you? And it's like, well, here's what I'm doing, right? And so, which is fun. So I'm just kind of glad that we can all kind of have our games we enjoy and do. And then also the ability to make products outside of world things happening and whatnot. Is a little bit easier too, like with Goobertown getting ready for his whole their their hobby materials, which are really great. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing kind of the evolution of stuff. Like, there was a guy who I used to watch. He was a really good YouTuber. His name was Luke as well.
It's a good strong name.
He used to make terrain. He used to make terrain and stuff, and he was really just a very entertaining guy. And then he started doing a bit of a side business thing, and now Geek Gaming Scenics is his company. So he he's got one of the coolest terrain basing and all that sort of stuff. But he couldn't have done that back in the day. Couldn't have done that back in the 90s. Been a kid, still living with his mum, and playing games upstairs with his brother and that, and he wouldn't have had the exposure to do that. So it's amazing what you can do now. Because of this sort of thing.
Yeah. Are you been playing anything yourself, Luke?
Have I been playing anything?
Okay. So we have to have. All right. So maybe we'll leave that.
I've played.
We'll maybe leave that to another show very, very soon.
I got to play Mythic Battles.
Oh, cool!
I got to play Mythic Battles with Flavian. So
you're doing great.
I mean,
I was in my happy place. I was just so happy. He beat me, but that's what Flavian does, because he's a ruthless son of a bitch. And you got to let the French win once in a while.
We did that.
It has to happen.
I didn't realise
history's been rough to him,
we were going there.
Yeah.
I realised we were going there.
That's all I do is take the piss out of Flavian for being French, because he's so bloody French.
He is lovely. He is.
I got to try, which I was very pleased to try, Star Wars Battle of Hoth, which obviously you will know very well. Yeah. But I'm a big Memoir 44 fan, so I played Memoir 44 loads, and of the variations of the Command & Collar system, which is just, I don't know if we do give it enough love, the Command & Collar system, but God, it is bloody perfect. That whole, the left flank, right flank, center, it's just so goddamn good. Like, the design of it is just beautiful.
If only they added some kind of Star Wars IP to it, it could be even better.
100%. But I really enjoyed that. So we played like scenario 5 and scenario 6 from the box. I was the good guys, the Empire.
The good guys, the Empire.
For both games. Yes, 100%. Yeah, I wasn't that filthy rebel scum. And I firmly, this is a hill I will die on, gentlemen.
Man, I got a Vader tattoo on my arm here. So
our first catch 100%. Of the day.
So that's I was really impressed with and what I kind of didn't realise, I hadn't noticed particularly when I'd seen it out and about in the on the internet wilderness, that it's not as big a platform, a footprint as Memoir. It's a smaller, because Memoir, if I remember rightly, you usually use two boards, two kind of standard boards that go together, don't you? Whereas Battle of Hoth is on one, but it doesn't feel smaller. And both of us said that. The guy who was playing with, who owned a copy, brought his copy. We kind of didn't realise till the end, and we were putting it away, and we're like, well, that's quite impressive, I know you can. There are, I think, scenarios in it where you can buy two
there
copies
is.
and put them
Yeah.
together.
People have been talking about like doing that with the little extra pieces that you get as well. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I could see myself picking. I think I will.
At some point.
I think it's. Yeah, I think I am.
I
think it's like one of these I'm going to take a jump on, because I just think it's. I've never. My problem with like Memoir 44 was quite simply, I know there was so much of Memoir 44 that if I started getting Memoir 44, I wouldn't be able to stop getting Memoir 44 until I got all of Memoir 44. And so having something like Battle of Hoth, when it's a jump in point,
I think that's why I never.
You can kind of go, right, here's my
well.
Battle of Hoth. This is what I want to play, and there's also the option to kind of give it a little touch of paint to make it look absolutely amazing, because I've got my white underpaint now, so I can go ahead and
there's two more games I will talk about actually, because I know you're going to appreciate one of them. How goddamn good is Leaders?
I was playing that too. Have you heard of Leaders?
Mother of Christ, as a little two-player chess variant, basically, which is kind of what it is.
Have you heard of Leaders, Ross? You heard of Leaders?
No.
It's basically
from Studio H, Hachette, or whatever. Yeah, and it's so hex grid. You start off with a leader on each side, and then you have all these different characters. And the aim of the game is to have 2 of your pieces next to their leader.
Oh, this kind of looks like a restorations game. Like
Onitama,
kind of those things, right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, a little bit more. It's a bit more abstract and tight than Unmatched, But if you play things like Onitama or Hive or a lot of the GIF games, cool. Those kind of chess abstract.
I'm going to say Hive actually.
Yeah,
Hive is very, very close to Hive.
Yeah, Hive is very, very
Hive,
similar.
huh?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So you draft throughout the first few turns, you take a turn, you draft you recruit a new person in, and they all move in different ways and do different things, and it's just just chef's kiss for how tight, neat, and perfect. It just looks
lovely.
A little
and
package
it's like
that is.
23 or 24
very beautiful
pounds,
produced.
and it's absolutely
20. I think Andrew bought it there for 22 quid from Games Law at the convention.
It's
at the time.
magnificent because you can teach it so quickly. It's just like, okay, you're going to move, and if you've got other pieces, you're going to move all those other pieces as well. And if you don't like moving all those other pieces, then what you can do instead is you can you've got your special move. Oh, what does that do? Well, this person allows me to jump here, or this person can only move if your leader moves, or this person can leapfrog, or this person can do this, or this person's got this person can drag them, either another player towards them or drag themselves towards another player. So it's just like that. But
or this one can get next to the opponent's leader and you win the game if they're
the
you
archer.
Don't need the other characters,
the assassin,
because they're the assassin, and they the assassin
2 spaces.
The archer can be counters next to the leader from 2 spaces away. It's like,
and the interesting thing is the designer. They've released a series of kind of almost like chess puzzles. So what they do is they basically have like 3 or 4 of the pieces on the board, and they say, okay, you've got to try and capture the other leader in like 3 moves or something like that. So they kind of do that. So they kind of like set up different kind of boards, because you've got 2 sides to the game. You can either do the blind draft, or you can actually go ahead and kind of do the proper kind of draft itself. So it's Hugo Frenoy who he's the designer, and I think it's his first game as well, and he's just really kind of... I met him at Tabletop Scotland, and as I say...
How was that show?
Oh, it was awesome.
Sorry, not to put you off the game.
No, it was good. It's 20 minutes away from me, Ross. I mean, it's literally...
That's so long. That's so far. How do you do it?
I mean, it's like... an American, that would be 3 hours. That's what you would consider a 3-hour drive, would be like 20 minutes down the road. What are you doing? It's kind of, it's reached its stride, and it's kind of got into its own, and it's just doing really, really well. And we're at the stage where everything just seems to be working, and it's not too busy, and it's quite relaxed, and it's quite comfortable, and they've got all the food sorted out. So the food trucks were amazing, and there was always people to play with, but there was enough spaces at the table so it didn't feel crowded. And the vendors that were there had a really good, all seemed to have a pretty good show, a very good show as well. They did have the huge Battle of Hoth there. So they had... I
saw the photos of that. Yeah, it looked awesome.
The kind of like the 6-inch high kind of ATAS. So it was really, really good. But yeah, no, Leaders. I played Leaders on Friday, and I played Ironwood today. So, which is Mind Clash's kind of... Yes, I've played it a couple of times now. I really like it, but It's a puzzle. I played it with a couple of people, including my middle boy, a couple of times. And we're trying to figure out how one of the factions can win. It's really weird because the Ironclad boys seem to be like, they're all about smashing up and just basically being kind of powerful in terms of the strength of their armies and how quickly they can get their stuff together. And the Woodfella guys seem to be like, they're just trying to sneak one of their totems out of the player board. But we're just trying to figure out what tactics you can use. And it's kind of strange because we both played as the Ironclads, and the people who played as the Ironclads, we both won. But we're not like, oh, this game's unbalanced, we're going to throw it to one side and we're going to like not touch it again. We're both sitting there going, right, there is a certain combination of cards and movement and tactics that you have to use which cannot be the same as your opponent, which is going to net you the win. And we're fascinated to kind of unearth the puzzle and understand what is going to allow us to win. So we've decided we're going to kind of keep playing it until we understand how the other faction can win. Because we played it and my son went, nah, this is crap, I don't like this. He says, there's no way the Woodfellas can win. So we went on Board Game Geek, and basically the Board Game Geek thread was, the Woodfella guys are vastly overpowered. They win every single time. It's like, we don't understand how there's no way that Ironclad can win the kind of the contest. It's completely imbalanced. And there was one post with like about 20 people commenting underneath going, you're so right. I don't know how they got this game, got through playtesting. We're sitting there going, how's that? How is I mean, that doesn't make it. So it is one of these games that we're not actually shelving as such. We're just like saying, okay, we need to kind of figure this out and figure out how is it kind of like, do we split up and do I go into like little single armies, like little kind of guerrilla warfare kind of smaller unit armies? Because clearly if I go in as a group of 6 up against your guy, I can win. But then I've got to be doing other things. It's taken me by surprise on kind of, I don't know why I like it so much. But when I was dropping off home today, I like basically said to him, we both don't know why we like it so much, but literally if we had time when you had to go home, if we had more time, we would have quite literally just set the game up and played it again. Because we played it twice in quick succession. But if we had kind of like more time, we would have just played it again and set it up. So that's where we were with that. So that's kind of interesting. It was Ironwood, and also, have you, either of you been looking at the Kinfire kind of game? Seen Kinfire Council?
Oh, Kinfire, that's a Kevin Wilson game.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a really cool group. That whole company is Incredible Dream is very awesome. So I haven't played it, but Kevin's a great designer.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
I've commented before that I think that Kevin's been told, you just design what you want. He's kind of like, when I'm gonna do he says, I could do something like Jaws of the Lion or Gloomhaven Mini, and I'll do Kinfire Chronicles. And he's like, cool, yeah, everybody like that. What are you going to do next? I've always wanted to do a card game where you kind of go through the deck. Yeah, well, let's do Kinfire Delve. And it's like, and then what's for your next trick? Nobody's really updated Waterdeep for a while, have they? I would think I'm going to go ahead and do kind of Waterdeep with kind of extra power. So do you know I was talking about playing Kinfire Council? I have now watched Kinfire Council being played by proxy twice now because of the nature of how the games group's gone. It's like, you know how you go to a games group and then there's not enough games for the players that you've got. So somebody inevitably has to sit out because if you put on a full 6-player game, it's never going to get played in the time. So we had Kinfire Council, so I just said, I'll tell you what, let's set up Kinfire Council. You can play it with like 4 players. I'll set out with the rules. I'll keep everybody right. And that's what they did. And then the second time, it's the same thing happened again. I just went, right, I'm going off to play bleeders and flesh and bloods. But they've really, really enjoyed it. So it's been kind of fun. But that's what I've been.
I got to play Nemesis Retaliation as well.
Oh, cool.
New Nemesis and it's as brutal as every game is. Awakened Realms, they do like to send you a massive box of stuff and then smash you over the head with it repeatedly.
The box looks like the type of thing that you'd like pack with somebody that you're sending into the next life. I mean, it's like
you'd use it as ballast on a submarine.
I saw there was this one beautiful picture of this guy going, like, he's sitting in his car and he's got the Nemesis Retaliation box in the back seat and it's almost towering over him, and he's like, basically goes, I've no idea how I'm going to explain this to my other half, because this thing is just ridiculously huge. It looks like I've bought a shed. It's like the size of the book.
I mean, some of those campaigns you back are definitely.
It does look like you bought flat pack furniture.
It's like. Did you get the wine cooler for the party that we're having? No.
Oh my gosh!
Even better.
I had another funny Steamforge story, but when I was at Steamforge, we were getting ready for a paint and take. We had one of our warehouses in the U.S. that had a bunch of damaged product, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna toss it," and I'm like, "Oh, no, don't toss that stuff because it was just the cardboard box is damaged." I was like, "Just ship it to me, and I'll pull the minis out for a paint and take." And like they're like, "Okay, cool, no problem." And I'm like, "Great, here's my address." I did not ask.
For
how much was going to arrive, and I had to go to my parents' house because like it's easier to have stuff. I travel too much and everything there, so a pallet and a half shows up. So 2 pallets shows up, and my dad called and he's like, "Hey, what is this?" And he thought I had backed something on Kickstarter, and he was like, "What did she do?" And I'm like, no. It's just from the company I'm working at. Amazing. And he's like, they rolled a pallet in here off a truck. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, I'm so sorry.
Because a pallet's going to be about 6 feet high.
That's how bad Kickstarters have got then. That your dad could think that it was a Kickstarter. He didn't, that was a possibility.
It was like, what have you backed? This thing. Well, because like the Kingdom Death box showed up, right? When I backed that originally. And my mom called me and she was like, I can't pick it up. I was like, Mom, leave it there. I'm heading home. Like, I'll be back.
You can just imagine.
I can't remember which one it was, but it was only a few weeks ago. It was last month sometime. But it was DPD were delivering it. And I knew it was a big one. And he brought it up. And then he kind of looked. I went, "Hey, mate, you're right, open the door." He's like, "There's another one." And he sort of trudged back to the van. It was such a fuck you.
I mean,
there's 2, you fucking bitch.
But it's because we back these campaigns, right? And like, I mean, obviously I haven't been involved in a campaign in a hot minute because I'm with Asmo. But like, when I was with Gloomhaven, right, and we were doing the Grand Festival thing, and I'm talking with Price and Isaac, and I'm like, we're going to be delivering people a Frosthaven, a Gloomhaven, 2nd edition, all the miniatures, all these card packs, all these things, and they're like, yeah, but it'll go in waves, so they're only going to get it like, so many things. But Frosthaven, that's like, 34 pounds or whatever that is in the UK.
16.5 kilos. I mean, it's a big.
Yeah, right.
Like a baby.
Oh, you guys are cracking up the story. Oh my gosh, this is the dumb story that I don't mind sharing. So we were at Epicon a few years ago, and we got a booth for Gloomhaven because I wanted to go to the show and it made sense, and we had the Frosthaven stuff. But where our booth was they had the air wall up, so we couldn't bring our product and booth around because we were against the air wall where the gaming area was, and so they dropped off our pallet, which had like 30 Frosthavens on it, but it was like 4 booths down from where our booth was. And they're like, oh yeah, you can just carry those in. And I was like, hey, I'm not. So they're like, well, Ross, you got to get set up. And I was like, cool. Then pull this air wall down and bring a security guy here so people can't. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna fireman's lane, all these frost haven when you could just pull the air wall and I could have it right in front of my booth. And they're like, I guess you're right. And I'm like, absolutely. So the booth. It was funny because when they moved it, the air wall stopped at our booth, and there were still like 6 more booths behind us that had the air wall in front of them. And so our neighbor was like, and I'm like, it's not my call, but I'll get him to move the rest of the air wall. I felt so, he was like, you're a dick. And I'm like, that wasn't my call. I just didn't want to carry the frost.
If you don't like it, you can move them yourself.
For sure. But they ended up doing that. And then, of course, Epicon moved to the new location at the Baird Center in Milwaukee, which is just great. So, which is cool. But yeah, it's
apparently
funny.
The festival's still going on. I still get updates for that. I think it's the same with a lot of Kickstarters are still kind of going on. It's like, this is an ongoing story. This is like a Netflix series that we're waiting to get kind of like, you get it 2 years down the line basically, and it's nobody's fault, which is no.
Well, there's so many campaigns. That's like there's so many campaigns that are having all their own stuff going on and all of that. So we don't got to get into biz stuff for things, but it is. I think last Tuesday there were so many campaigns that launched. It was the most I'd seen in a long time on the same day.
It was huge.
It's not.
Yeah, it was. On the. Not last Tuesday.
The Tuesday before, yeah.
The day, like Monolith Berserk was a huge one.
Yeah. Darrington had theirs go up, and then how many other card? It was just, it was like you could, and you're all excited. It was like, here's a good quality publishers launching their board game ones that are all doing well, and people are buying, right? Which is great. That's.
Oh yeah, Berserk made like 1.1 million in the first 24 hours, and I've said nowadays the $1 million club is an elite club again, because there's so many campaigns. There's so many people who I speak to, and I'm like, kind of what, give me an idea of your expectations. Where do you think you're going to get to? Be realistic with it, blah, blah, blah. But, say it as it is, And the amount of people who've said to me over the years that I've been with Game Fair, they're like, oh, we want to make $1 million. And I'm like, all right, could you just justify that for me? And they're like, well, yeah, but so-and-so made $1 million and so-and-so made $1 million. Right, okay. That project was 7 years ago. That project was 5 years ago. That was this and this was that. And okay, yeah, look at yours. Yeah, I'm not saying you're not going to make $1 million. I'm not saying you can't make $1 million. Just bring that expectation. $1 million campaign back in the day is a $500,000 campaign now.
No, totally.
$1 million campaign now is an elite. Only the best of the best.
And it's because
truly, and I really mean that,
Yeah.
Or the ones that catch lightning in a bottle, and you can't go into it thinking we're gonna fucking catch lightning in a bottle. That's us. That's who we are.
No. Yeah, just make this go viral.
You can't go into it like that.
Yeah. But there's so many good games. It's kind of been the theme of this interview so far. Has been like this. There's so many good games out there. Like I was doing a mentorship with the guys from Glass House for Whisker Wars through the Unpub program. We did the tabletop mentorship program, and we worked through that. And they just awarded $40,000 for their campaign, and they ended up around, I think, what did they end up at? Like 100 and what did they end up at? Go to the Kickstarter for them. Ended up at 150, right? Really good. And
it's awesome.
And
150 so much money.
It was great, but like they did the grind on, hey, we're going to play at game stores around the area. We're going to do these things, get our newsletter in. We're going to play at conventions. They did the classic stuff, right? Hey, we're going to play this game and do the thing and do all that. And then when they launched, they had the right amount of meta money where it was like, hey, we're going to spend on these days and do this stuff. And it was like, it was cool seeing them get so excited over that funding amount, having been a part of crowdfunding campaigns for over a decade now, where it's like we've made 1 million, we've made 7 million, we've made whatever, right? And it's like it was cool to be on that like scrappy, hey, we're going to do this thing,
100%, I'll bet,
and do that, where every dollar spent needs to convert something, right, or do a thing. This is cool, you know. So
I'm lucky. I mean, I've worked with some companies that I'm so like honored to be, you know, Monolith are one of my favorite companies in the world. They're my account, and I love what they do. Obviously, they produce my favorite game of all time. So I'm just so, like, I consider myself so lucky to be working with them and doing what I can for them and stuff. But then, you know, it is also to work with that thing. But then it's so nice when you get somebody, you know, who's, you know, they're doing a thing, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, cool. How, you know, how do you think you're going to do it? Stuff like that. And they're like, or like they've put like a funding goal of 40 grand or something like that. You know, perfectly nice, reasonable funding goal. And I'm like, so kind of where do you actually think you want to get? He was, oh, I mean, as long as we fund, I'm happy. You know, and I'm like, yeah, just say that again. And I'm like, look me in the eye, just say it again. And like, no, as long as we fund, I'm happy. I'm like, shit, you actually mean that? Yeah. I love you. Yeah. I really love you. You know, that's all I want, you know, because that's what crowdfunding came from. That's what crowdfunding was about. You know, I've just got this thing. I want to put it out there. Trouble is, and it's a great thing as well, crowdfunding created a lot of businesses, you know, and that's awesome. But the trouble is, a lot of people go into it thinking, I'm going to make a business out of this. I'm going to turn this into a business. I'm going to become the next Cephalofair, Awaken Realms, you know, Brotherwise, all these various companies that didn't exist without crowdfunding, and that's great, and it's great to have that goal, but it is not necessarily it's not written in stone, you know. You know, and also, you know, if your business model centers around it, chances are that, you know, nothing's set in stone for your business at that point, you know, because it isn't, or certainly not. It's certainly not set in stone if you need to do a 2.5 million plus campaign every. Well,
I mean, that could be its own. We're getting on the nitty gritty. You know. So when I run a crowdfunding podcast, a crowdfunding panel every year at Comic-Con. We've been doing it for a few years now, and this year was cool. We had Tegan from Hero Forge on it, and Peter Vaughn from Cardboard Alchemy. And those kind of things, right? And the year before, we get different creators on. And the main question I always want to bring up is, like, people are like, oh, should I crowdfund or should I go pitch to a publisher? Should I do my own thing? And it's always like, do you want to run your own company, right? Yeah. And it's like, do you just want to design your game or do your thing? Or do you want to run your own company? Because when you do crowdfunding, you are now going to owe someone something. And you are going to have to do things that you may not like or enjoy doing, you know. And I've been a part of companies,
or have even thought about what you have. Oh, to do. The amount of people who you know, certainly in the earlier days of crowdfunding, suddenly they had like $1.5 million of people's money in their lap, and suddenly they need to be an expert in global shipping, you know, foreign manufacturing processes.
Let me tell you about those days.
And all this shit that they're just like, you know, I didn't think this through, or I did think this through, but not nearly enough.
Well, I mean, back then we were running. Geez, now you're getting me on. Back then we were running campaigns where the tier levels used to be the different regions we were going to ship to, because there was no way to deal with shipping in the pledge manager, because the word pledge manager didn't exist, right? And so we used to have campaigns that were like, oh yeah, these 6 ones you can get this pledge level shipping this direction, and that there I every now and then I'll go look back on those pages and be like, wow, what a different time that was.
Oh, well, go back and look at viticulture.
Oh yeah,
it's just it looks like you're going back and looking at an old GeoCities website. It's like from the Amazon, kind of the early 2000s. You know, basically. It's just, and you think of what a success that was.
Oh yeah,
and what that was deemed a massive success. And you look at it and it's like, it made fun.
There was a time. There was a time.
It's just, I mean, it's different worlds apart.
When Miskatonic School for Girls from Fun to 11 was the big campaign. And that had raised like $30,000, right? And you're like, man.
And it was Alien Frontiers was one of the big early.
Oh yeah.
I think might have gone over 100K, I think, or something like that. It was one of the big ones that went, crowdfunding's a proper thing. That was the one I think that really turned people and went, oh shit, is this what we do? Is this how we do it now? Is this, it's the one that opened, it was the open door moment, was Alien Frontiers. But yeah, I mean, so many of them since. I mean, the world of crowdfunding has changed.
It has, and it's
for good, for bad,
for whatever it is.
For
whatever it is,
I mean, it is. For so many.
And
ways,
there's definitely, I think, a new wave coming too. With everything going on in the world, it's going to be fascinating to see how that's going to change next, and then we'll see. So it'll be neat, So.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about crowdfunding in the that part of the industry. It's been evolving for ages, so it's kind of all suited to evolve in some way or form. It's very much, it's got some things, it's got some ways that it that are set in its ways, but for the most part, it's still such an evolving creature of a thing.
Well, and that's
that I think,
and it's almost a very pure port of that too, because you have to make what backers do and what backers want. And while there are some very set, hey, you can do these things, there's still things where it's like, oh, what a cool idea, how come no one thought of that yet? And then all these campaigns will start doing that thing.
Exactly. Right.
And it was like when social stretch goals became a thing, and then everyone looped that in, and then daily reveals became a thing, and we did all these things there, and it was the choose your own adventures in the polls and do all those things, So
I remember when
I mentioned there's a part of you, obviously, with the career you've had and the jobs you've had, Ross, that there's a part of you that massively misses your crowdfunding, and then there's a big part of you that's like, thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Because it's such a rewarding yet also stressful. Like, I mean, there's you must go on a roller coaster when you're running or you're being part of running a campaign.
When a certain job came up about a year ago to be ahead of a thing for a thing, that was definitely like okay, cool. If I were to do that, what would that be like? But it's like, I have enough stress running one campaign. I couldn't imagine being overseeing all of these things, right? But you're told, I mean, when we pressed go on Zombicide, right? Like, we were at old school Adepticon, and we had a bunch of pizza and Red Bull, and I was running demos for like 3 days straight doing that. And back then, all we really had to do was share our news to Tabletop Gaming News and Beasts of War and Bella Lost Souls, and people would see the thing on that. We'd have a new stretch goal, throw some concept art up, and go, oh yeah, cool, we'll make that. Add 20 grand to that, and we'll get around to it. We'll figure it out, right? Like, and all it is right now is a sketch on a paper we made at the convention. But we'll get it. Because if you knock off, just do the trench coat with a space thing. It's cool.
Just make it,
right? So,
making it up as you go along.
Yeah,
it was the Wild West once, wasn't it? It really was.
It truly was, right? And I remember when, God, Pepperidge Farm remembers, right? But like, it was the when Hawk War Games launched Drop Zone Commander, right?
Yeah,
that was a change in miniatures Kickstarters, for example, because everything was painted, everything was done, everything was like, okay, cool. Here's what you want. Do you want to get that faction, that thing? Here's the box. You get it. You're going to get all these things. Here's what it all looks like, right? And it was like, okay, cool. We need to go to that. And I still use that campaign as kind of a benchmark, because like I don't like having digital renders if I can avoid it, right? It's like, let's get photography, let's get a thing, let's do all that. Because if not, it's so easy to go, oh cool, we have the render, we'll just make it a color and do a thing, where it's like, what if we went that extra level, right? So, but yeah, I mean, it's been fascinating to watch this, because I've been involved with crowdfunding pretty much since like Flame War and Miskatonic School for Girls, and now, all of that. And so when I got brought on, the last campaign that I like ran for work was before I came on here over at Gloomhaven, right? And we did the whole grand festival with that. I still get PTSD looking at that page, because we did 5 to 6 products that were the mainline products, had about 20 add-on things. We had 30 days straight of live streaming. We did a video game launch during that. We did multiple conventions. We did all that stuff, and that ended then going right into Comic-Con, and when that, I think one of the crazy things about that campaign, which was great, Isaac and Price were a blast to work with. Their whole team was really good. Kyle Pooler and that whole group there was awesome. Everyone worked hard to make it happen. The Wednesday that convention ended, that Thursday morning, which was the start of Comic-Con San Diego, I woke up in my hotel room and my body shook, like full like body shake, and like a ghost like left my being. And I was like, that's 9 months of stress that is just like left my body. And now this husk of a thing, let me, meander into the shower and try to pull myself back together and find purpose in life, and then go and do that. But I mean, campaigns are a trip, there is a,
I bet,
like we just finished the Star Wars.
I get a taste of it, but I don't get, I'm not in it. My
joke advice I always give everybody that wants to start a campaign, I'm like, bring a second pair of shorts on once you press go and launch, because you're going to be shooting yourself for that first 24 hours, because you don't know.
Sadly, it's so integral as well. That's sad.
Oh yeah.
There's so many things within crowdfunding that shouldn't make any sense.
Yep.
Like the first 24 hours is so important. If you don't fund in the first 24 hours, well, sadly, then it's not going to go even close to where you want it to go. And there's a very good chance it won't even fund, let alone, but it's such, there's no logical reason for that.
But you still are.
It's just, but it's but I mean, it's just that backer mentality. It's like, it's not funded yet, so I won't back it.
Or whatever.
I won't back it until it's funded. Yeah. It's like, well, hang on a minute. That doesn't make any sense. You're the reason it's not funding because of people like you saying that. Whereas if it doesn't fund, it doesn't fund. Then that's what it is. But it definitely won't fund if you say I'm not going to back it until it's funded.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And it's such stupid mindsets like that. There's weird things within crowdfunding that just make no sense.
And so like on the same port, like if you come in as a backer and the page looks dead, why would I back it, right? And so like my other advice is like,
100%.
You should have every single day of your campaign planned, because you've got all this time. Let's say you're going to run like a 27-day campaign, right? Like have something prepped every day. That way that you don't wake up in a cold sweat and go, oh shit, what am I going to do today? Like have it all done out. But I will say,
well, there was a Facebook post the other day, and I think it was one of the crowdfunding groups or something like that, and it just said like, what your hell knows for a crowdfunding campaign, and I just gave it a very like quick thought, and I just said no FAQ, no response to comments, and if in the first 3 scrolls on my phone I don't have a clue what the fuck is, then I'm
it's like you gotta be able to tell what is this thing.
And, and I put in the under the FAQ and the comments thing, and I said I'll put as much effort into backing as you do responding to your backers and giving your backers information. And that's 100% my logic, with everything. And that whole, I didn't come up with that whole 3 scroll thing. It was to do with something else. It was to do with like, I think I saw it on like fucking clip of a TED talk or something like that, and it was to do with like website design or something. If you can't, with the mindset of the people nowadays, if within 3 scrolls on your phone they don't know what they're looking at, they won't carry on looking at it anymore.
But then to say that,
and I just like, that's so true for crowdfunding campaigns. If you don't know, if you just suddenly go like, oh, look at all this shit you're going to get, and I'm like, yeah, but if I don't know what that's for.
You're like, oh, here's the
it's like, yeah, they're all lovely miniatures, and that's all great, but it's for an area control game. Well, I don't like area control.
Right.
If I don't get that information, if I don't,
But what's funny is like on that though, I think one of the things that I'd love to see people do more is I think once their campaign page is live, they treat it like it's a billboard they've purchased and you can't change it. Like they'll add on the add-ons or whatever, and like that,
100%.
But they don't touch it. And I'm like, man, change it. Do like in a week, everybody that you've blasted to has already seen it. So you're going to have to figure out who that next audience is. So rebuild your campaign page to be targeted to people that are your new audience or your new thing. Because we did that with Buttons and Bugs with the Gloomhaven one, was we knew that we were going to get the second wave of people in. So we rebuilt almost the whole page so that when people came in the second time, it wasn't just a, here's Gloomhaven. It was, oh, are you into Gloomhaven second edition? Click this button. Are you into Frosthaven? Click this button. Buttons and Bugs? Click this button. Because that way we're over the initial pomp and circ, and now we're into like the nitty gritty trench grind of like, let's go, you know? So, but
yeah. One of the things I offer to creators as well that aren't creators, you know, that come from kind of your world, that experienced and have done it all, but like these newer creators, they always say like, oh, you know, what should I look for? You know, what's kind of like a tip? And I always just say, look for the consistencies. And they're like, would you be like, I'm like, you're going to get somebody in your comments who's going to be like, the shipping's really high, and they're going to message 9 times a day that your shipping's really high, and it's going to get into all caps, and they're going to be fucking links to this and whatever. They're going to shout fucking loud. I said, that's not consistency. But when someone says the shipping's too high, or somebody says this, or like 15 people say like, oh, the board looks shit, you know, and then another person said like, have you seen the board on this? It looks terrible. And you go into your social media things, and you find that people say like, have you seen the board for this thing? No, it looks shit. Or, those are the consistencies, and do something about it quick. Because if you don't do something about it quick, that's the narrative of what your thing is, and that's also the narrative of why it failed, because you didn't do anything about the shipboard that everybody told you about.
Right. Well, and then so it's so we're on this. So you're gonna get my other little thing. Trench Crusade, when that was going on. Their Facebook group.
No, there's lightning in a bottle.
For sure. But there was a really fascinating thing with that was in their Facebook group, every day, 5 or 6 people would message going, what is Trench Crusade and how do I buy it? And they had no clue that it was a crowdfunding or what it was, what kind of game. Even though one Google search would have taken them to the website or the Kickstarter. They hop into the Facebook group and we're just like proudly wearing ignorance and just being like, how do I buy this thing? Right. And it really was like, oh, here's these Warhammer 40K guys who know Warhammer 40K, but have no idea about crowdfunding, about this larger Simba, here is the world, you know, thing. And all they've known is Warhammer, who is like the most published and produced game out there. You go into a game store, you can buy go into a post office in the UK, you can buy Warhammer, right? Like it's a whole thing. But how do I buy this thing? And so obviously everybody loves like, oh, this game's going to take down 40K or whatever bullshit on that. But just like the whole, how do I get this thing? It was because the whole campaign, people were finding it, but didn't know how to convert. And that was so inspiring to me as a marketing for tabletop games, because I'm like, oh, this is the classic. And here's my line, and I love this thing, is Mattel still markets Uno.
Yes.
You know, like Mattel still markets Uno. We all know what Uno is, but
Hasbro still markets.
They still market Monopoly, right? Like they do these things. Mattel, because I run the jobs group, right? Like Mattel literally just posted up 2 new jobs for marketing for Uno this week, right? And
just for Uno. Just marketing jobs. Yeah. Just for
marketing
Uno.
manager Uno.
Yeah, there you go. And that says
and one was a brand manager and one was like digital e-commerce stuff. But the brand manager one, they're talking about like the marketing for it and everything there. And you're reading this and you're like, this is an insanely cool thing. But they don't want somebody creative. They want somebody like, here's everything we've done. Here's these things. Because they've got it down to a system. But someone still has to run the meta ads. Someone still has to send out review copies, even though we all know what Uno is. It's been memed to death at this point, but still someone's got to run the marketing for it, because if not, you know, you're going to lose that spot at a 7-Eleven you know? So
you said a funny thing with the whole, like, you know, Trench Crusade will beat 40k and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's utter bullshit. There was a YouTuber I watched, a painting YouTuber, and they put up a video, and it was some the tag of it, or the thumbnail was it will finally break Warhammer or whatever, something to do with 3D printing, blah blah blah. And then I watched the video, and it was essentially about, in fact, it was about Trench Crusade. It was about a miniature Trench Crusade, blah blah blah. And for the most part, it was about it was sponsored from a 3D printing. A 3D resin 3D printer. That was the sponsor of the thing, and then also about a cool Trench Crusade miniature. And I put in the comment, because the bit about the Warhammer aspect of it was maybe the first 15 seconds of the thing, and then never mentioned again any relation to Warhammer or anything like that. And I said, Warhammer won't die until you don't need to say Warhammer in the title of your YouTube video to get clicks, when it's got nothing to do with Warhammer.
Well,
and that's 100%, and I said at the end, and I don't begrudge you for doing it, because I understand you have to, but until that's the case, until you don't have to mention Warhammer to get a painting video seen, that's got nothing to do with Warhammer, then Warhammer will never, or 40k or GW or whatever will never die.
But the thing is, those things, well, I mean, the chip we all have in our brain, or the first purchase when we were 14, that's it's never going to die. We're always going to buy a Space Marine when we walk to the game store. Yeah. But it's just funny how that works. But same thing with card games, right? Oh, hey, this is the Magic the Gathering thing. How many RPG things compared to D&D and all that there, and it's like there's always that debate of, well, you shouldn't have to compare your game to another game in order to sell your game, but also who's your audience, right? Because if we're gonna make something that is, it's got big shoulders and big things and could be a sci-fi thing, then that's what that's gonna be. But if that isn't the case, then we're doing that. I don't know, right? I'm trying to choose words that I won't get.
I can edit this. I can edit this. I mean,
I can do. But it's just it's fascinating, right? Because still around. Yeah, I'm still here. Oh my gosh, how long have we're in 2 hours.
I think
Richard's like, okay, guys, we should have cut it an hour and 20 minutes ago.
He's sitting there thinking, I'm so
we've got a part 3 going on here.
They won't stop talking.
Why did you start us late? Why did you start us late? Why did you have to wait until you're an hour and 20 minutes early?
It's Friday. We could have started earlier. I could have gone to Disneyland after this.
Gold all the way through. Let's have gold. You're doing this now. It's fine. It's fine.
So that being said, it is a 2 hour thing, and I bet you're going to. So I think what's fun though, and to kind of do a full wrap on this, right? Is it's really fascinating. Oh, I think so. Well, a full wrap.
Let's just do a 20-minute roundup of everything we've discussed.
Look, watch me do it. Watch me do it.
Here we go. Right.
I think what's fascinating is, for all the things we've discussed, from card games to minis to crowdfunding marketing and stuff like that, is that we are in a time where this can all be discussed, and there's going to be so many other folk that have very similar experiences and times and things, and it's just great. It's never been easier to get into games as a player, as a publisher, and it's just cool. I'm still, you have 5, you're surrounded by a giant paint, Scrooge McDuck level stuff over there.
My den of geekdom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's
surrounded by it.
And I've got all my things over there too. And Richard's pulling off his Pokemon cards and that stuff, right? And so it's just.
Thank God it was his only Pokemon he was pulling off. Thank God for that.
There we go. There's some kookiness. I love it. But it's just cool, it's when I was at LVO, I was brought up a couple of times, but when I was there, the Michigan GT was going on at the same time. There was a big GT for our other games happening in the UK, and there was a big thing happening in Canada. They were both over 40, 50 players for the AMG games, right? And it was what a cool weekend that like there's so many people playing our games. The weekend before was like Tabletop Scotland, and then there was the big team tournament for 40K that had like 66 teams of 8 players competing, you know, and then there's all this D&D into castle stuff that people are going off to in camp. It's wild that we have now come to
like Mantic had
their big thing going on, right?
There's like I think there's like 240 players or something like that for the. You know, it was fucking huge for the Kings of War Grand Clash.
Yeah, and then this weekend there's a big massive kit bashing weekend happening. Luis and a bunch of Bad Squiddo games are all out in a cabin just doing kit bashing things, sponsored stuff, and it's like we are so lucky to be able to do this stuff, you know, and it's cool. Our small child, inner child versions of ourselves are very happy. It's what we're doing.
We're having a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, but also now because I sit there and think, oh, you know, God, I wish I had this when I was a kid. And I think, no, I couldn't have afforded all this shit when I was a kid.
This is the best. This is the best.
I'd have looked at it so longingly. I'd have been like, Dad, can I please have a 3D printer for Christmas? And I wouldn't have got one. You know. So
right.
yeah, you know.
I'm gonna call it.
There we go. 5.
Nice. Like, right. Quick, draw a line under it.
Flip it over. Because it's like, I think, and this happens with you every single time, Thompson, is that we start a conversation, you just keep going. It could be like 4 o'clock in the morning. We're like on hour like kind of like 17.
Oh my gosh,
it's not. No, we're only joking. I'm just pulling. There's your leg getting pulled. Hey, but we could just keep talking and talking and talking, and it's been. I've just had the best time. I always have the best time. We should do this again. If you've been listening along tonight, then we appreciate you listening along. If you have been listening, there's a couple of things you can do. You can check us out on our website, which is we'renotwizards.co.uk. You can go into Spotify or your podcast catcher of choice and drop us a rating or a review. If you are going to be dropping us a rating or a review, do whatever you want. It's fine, you know. But 5 is always nice because it always makes us smile and happy. And but the other thing you can do is tell other people because we like to spread like butter. If you are interested in getting involved in the tabletop industry in a jobs type fashion, then there is the Tabletops Games Job Group, which is run by Ross and run by Jess Fisher. Rather extremely professionally, extremely wonderfully, and if you are looking at taking a deeper dive into the industry, then certainly join that group and check it out. Or even if you're already in the industry and you're looking to move to become like the brand manager for Uno, who knew? You can do that. Just a big thanks to Ross for coming back on. Appreciate you kind of reaching out, coming back on, having a chat, and certainly do it again. It's been absolutely fantastic. There's only a couple more things to do. First thing is to remember that we're many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Ross?
We are not wizards. Maybe sorcerers.
No, don't
maybe warlocks.
That. Stop it. No magic. And the other thing is to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from the rather magnificent, rather fantastic. He's the slap chop to my underbase. It's Mr. Luke Pryor. Say goodbye, Luke. And it is the last minute disappointment. That's Mr. Ross Thompson. Say goodbye, Ross.
I gotta do like Luke.
Bye. And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll sixes, make something awful, and
stay spicy.
Ooh, stay spicy. I like that. Good.
He just added it on. Don't like it too much because you'll give him ideas. But until the next time, goodbye.
Good, everybody.
Bye.
A wizard is never late. is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.